the landlord of this place, who sort of owned this plot of land, was like, he saw me. I was like reading a book in my studio, and then he came in, and then he was like, looked at me, and I was like, oh, hello, hi, nice to meet you. And he just like, he looks at me and is like, ah, China. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna have this conversation again. All right, let's, I was like, okay, it's cool. No, I'm not from China. Da da da. And we have this whole dance. Like, okay, Japan. No, no, I'm from Korea. And then he was like, north or south. And I was like, like, and coincidentally, I heard that question from people I was introducing myself to, like, I think that week, like 2 or 3 times. Like, definitely, like, yeah, in a span of like a couple of days, 3 individual people asked me the same question, like, are you from the north or south? And then for me, this question is like, has like a lot of layers with it, right? And the reason why they're asking has a lot of layers too. Like, what do you mean? Like, if I say north, what does that mean? Like, what is, like, and I am from South Korea, my family's from South Korea, but I really hate this question, because why are we even seeing it as a North Korea, South Korea, when,
Well, who made the distinction
Yeah.
between the two in the first place?
Yeah, and then you think back there and you're like, oh wait, it's been one country for 1,000 of years, right? So it's like not making any sense historically. It's only this sort of political meddling that sort of causes division, and then causes one sort of side to be like, yeah, I'm South Korean, I'm not North Korean. It's like this sort of, like, no true Scotsman sort of thing as well. But I sort of took this sort of experience, and I wanted to make a film about it. And I sort of diving a little bit deep into like what that means, because later, as the conversation was going on, it kept on getting worse and worse. Because when I said I was from the South, he was like, yes, they were once a colony, but now they're economically, they're doing good. And I was like,
what stereotype can I pull out next?
Yeah, but this was like, he was an older German guy, kind of like in a rural area, but like, he was open-minded. He knew a lot actually about somehow Korean history, but his framework in itself, while open, was actually like super racist at its core. And then he started saying like, oh, in other countries, like in Africa or like other Arab countries, like, some of them are like they've been colonized, but they're still shit. It's only, and then what he said was like, oh, South Korea has a lot of Christians, right? And it's like, yeah, sure, there's a lot of Christians. It's like, yeah, that's the reason why that Korea is economically doing well, because they're Christian. They're a Christian nation. And that really shook me, because I was like, what? So you're saying, like, by extension, you're saying countries that like aren't Christian, or is it from, if they're just savages, right? And basically that's the only reason why they're fucking themselves over, because they're not Christian, right? And it was like so many like assumptions that this man was making, that I really needed to like piece it together in this film. So the film is called Are You From the North or South? And it's made from 8mm footage that I actually stole from this man, because I just wandering around his lot, and there's like a pile of trash, and then in the pile of trash was this guy's like old 8mm footage that he just had thrown away. So I was like, well, I'm gonna take this guy's footage, and it says like Tunisia 1977 or Canary Islands 1980. It's like this man who like traveled around the world with his like his camera, and like sort of like this idea of representation, and like capturing someone's image into your little like your little film strips, where you can show home, you go home and like look at this crazy people
look at
I met.
everything I did, and look
Yeah.
at
And so it's really the plan is to what I'm doing is like I'm like scratching all the faces off of all the people that appear in this guy's film. So when you project it, it's like this the emptiness of light, but still the remnants of this sort of violent capturing through his camera, and a script that I wrote sort of like about this experience.
Wow.
So that's the
Strong project. Wow.
that's the film.